you, I ain't never been a bitch, nigga. I'm pop niggas, bitch, I'm really with the shits, nigga. I hit niggas, double barrel to his abs. When that Mossberg hit him, watch a nigga do a dab. These pussy niggas wanna see me dead. Since bottle 9, I done had a ticket on my head. I kill shooters, tell that nigga get his bread back. ATM the gang, I send that nigga head back. Whoever said that love begets love was wrong. I'm from a city where blood begets blood. It's slugs hit niggas mug. That ain't bugs and cuffs. That's choppers for that loose talk. I'm coming plug you up. Pussy, push me, I bet he never see another day. Top at your face, bet you never see another day. When I get to shooting, this motherfucker get out the way. 0 to 100, my baby, it ain't got no delay.
All right, we live. Welcome back to the channel. We are here live and direct with Miss Princess Astorcia. How you doing today?
Hello, Oden. How are you?
All is well my way. I can't complain about nothing.
I see you been good. I see the new baby boy. He looks like he's getting big.
To the Prince Adonis.
Yes, Prince Adonis.
We raising young kings, you know that.
Mm-hmm.
So, by the way, congratulations on Silk Show. How did the show go yesterday?
His show went good. He had a lot of people there. Like it's really coming up for him. I'm proud of my son. It's really coming up for him. It was a lot of people in there. It was so many people in there. I think he taped himself or I taped him. But he's bringing a great crowd. He's bringing a great crowd, which is a good look. And the crowd is like mixed, you know what I'm saying? It's older people, middle people, and then people that's his age, and then a little bit of teenagers. So he's getting it in. I don't know where he get his lyrics from. He be writing songs.
He artist, you know what I'm saying? Art depicts life.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get down to the meat and gristle of things. You know what I'm saying? Let me say this. Welcome back to the Chitlin Circuit, because everybody start on the Chitlin Circuit. I am the reigning king of the Chitlin Circuit. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Being the first person to have you on screen, I gotta pat my own back.
Yeah, you gotta pat your own back. Being the first person to have you on screen and have an interview with you, how did it feel being on such a big stage on the Say Cheese channel? I really don't get excited about a lot of stuff. It is what it is, but I didn't know how powerful his channel really was. It's a very big, powerful channel. So I'm okay. I was okay. But when I first did it, I felt, like a little bit nervous because, the questions that I was being asked, I was like, wow. And, some people had a problem with me looking up. My eyes kept being looked up, but what they're not understanding is he was up in a little skybox type thing. He was up, you know what I'm saying? So I'm looking up, actually talking to him.
Okay. You said something about the questions, and I want to get into that because a couple of those questions, like you said, wow. And one that struck me particularly was when he asked you if you ever used drugs. Do you remember him asking you that when you were telling them about your brothers being dealers and being in the streets? He asked you something to the effect of if you'd ever become curious to try it, or did you just become a distributor?
Right.
How do you feel about questions like that? Did you guys discuss what kind of questions he would ask?
No. We never ever. I didn't know what type of questions he was going to ask me, and from my point of view of it, I'm glad I didn't know because I didn't want it to be. She answered those questions the way she was supposed to. Thank you, Cameo. I'm glad he did it that way because I didn't want it to be like I had rehearsed what I needed to say. So the way I answered the questions was the way I felt and who I am. You know what I'm saying? So him asking me if I ever use drugs, I'm okay with that because see, people tend to, when you are a distributor and you're selling distributor, you know, you do sometimes succumb yourself to using your own drugs. So it's called getting high on your own supply. So I wasn't mad about him saying, you know, I didn't feel no type of way about him asking me, did I use?
I did. Like, what type of nigga is you? Shit. I mean, I'm just being honest. That shit struck a chord with me in a different way. Not just because we have a personal rapport and everything, just because what type of nigga is you? Like, do I look like a fiend, nigga? Why would you ask me if I got curious and played with the drug rather than selling it? Which is what I told you I did. It was, you know.
I understand what you're saying, but you know, people have looks can be deceiving. So maybe somebody told him that, you know, he wanted to clear that up. She was very composed and gave thoughtful answers. Thank you, B. Johnson. You know, some people, you know, you have some people, looks can be deceiving. People could be getting high and they know how to hide it real good, you know. So I think that's where he was going since I sold so many drugs.
I'm surprised you didn't take off. That's kind of like a how dare you, nigga. You know? It's like a how dare you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Another thing that you said, why were you hanging with transgender women and members of the LGBTQ community so early on? I think you said you was 15 to 17 around the time you were hanging with these people.
Yeah, you know, I had transgender, but they wasn't, my uncles wasn't transgender, but they were LGBTQ as I was growing up as a kid. So I had them in my family. That's why I specifically said my cousin Brian. So I had already had them in my family. And Puffy had been around me since I was like 11, 12 years old. I was always around her. So it was a growing up stage thing.
So it was kind of by proxy. It wasn't necessarily that you chose this group of individuals to hang with. It was just the people that happened to be around you or whatnot growing up.
Yes.
Okay. Another thing you said some stuff that you were hearing about Poe made you feel some type of way, but it wasn't your business to go and tell Wayne because that was his business. Mm-hmm. And I'd like for you to explain what you meant by that when you say that.
Basically, you know, like a lot of people didn't like the fact that you know, Wayne was dealing with Poe. A lot of people had mixed feelings about it. People were saying that, you know, Wayne shouldn't be dealing with Poe. Poe was not to be trusted. You know, Poe was just not a good person. They felt like Poe wasn't a good person for Wayne to be dealing with. I'm going to just cap it up and put it there. He was not a good person for him. You know, a lot of people, they talk smack about Wayne now, but when Wayne was actually in DC, people really cared. They cared about Wayne. And it's a lot of people that still do. I know I'm probably more emotional and I show more than they do, but he has a lot of people that really care about him. They still do now, and they really did back then. And they just felt Poe was a bad look for him, which they actually were right. So I don't know if Poe was doing things behind Wayne's back and maybe they saw it and Wayne didn't see it, you know, but Poe was really not accepted to a lot of Wayne's men, his little soldiers and stuff like that. He was not accepted to them. So that's what I meant by that.
I can see that. Let me see. Pardon self. Okay. Let's move on. Okay, something juicy you gave, dog. And I'm kind of upset that you gave him this and not myself. But you said you met Grateful through Puffy. Yeah. I was upset about this part. Okay. You said I met Grateful through Puffy, a transgender woman at a party in Chevy Chase, Maryland. I said, what is she? What?
Hold on
the
now.
juicy stuff for that.
Hold
Oh my
on
God!
now. Because you
I see
know
how
we
people
never.
do.
No, we never. I and you never really talked about Rayford. Now, did we? Did we? Did we ever really talk about Rayford? No, we did not.
We sure enough talked about Puffy because Rambo was on this channel talking what he was talking.
But we never talked. Only reason we talked about Puffy is when you had my homie on your show and Puffy came up. We never actually really talked about Puffy as to how I got to meeting Puffy or where was I with Puffy and stuff like that, except for the part about my homie and his situation with Puffy. So I didn't give it to you, but I mean, I probably would most definitely would have discussed that with you and aired it out if we'd have got to that, but we didn't get to that. But he did because he brought up the fact that Rayful, and I had to explain to him where I actually met Rayful from, because people would think probably I met Rayful like he asked me, did I meet Poe at a party? No, and I still never told him where I met Poe at. I just told him I met him. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't tell him where. I just told him I met him. I met him.
Okay, so you realize that you kind of dotted some I's and crossed some T's with that little section right there, because in hindsight it looks like you described Rayful text messaging or beeping a transgender woman to take him on a shopping spree, and possibly other things. I don't know. I'm not going to speculate on. But
don't speculate. Don't speculate.
I'm not. But Sean Cotton caught the vibe or whatnot, and you had to go ahead and tell him that you had no prior knowledge of Rayful being a part of that community. Correct?
Exactly. I can't say. I saw her on Say Cheese. The interview was hella dope. Got hella respect for her. Thank you. I would never, just jump out there and lie or try to make myself build my image up by saying I seen him actually sleep with them. I know he was affiliated with them, through conversation that I seen and what I actually witnessed with her. But for me to just blankly say, yeah, he slept with them, I can't do that. And I would never do that.
I respect that.
Yeah.
I respect that. Let me get to who is this? Underdog 211. Salute. One supporter's worth 1,000 subscribers. I appreciate what you did there. He said, is Puffy still alive?
No, she is not.
No. Puffy passed away. Rambo had something to do with we already been through that. But yeah. Go back and look at my Rambo interview, Underdog. And that'll explain what happened to Puffy. Rest up to Puffy.
Yeah.
Salute to everybody in the chat. So how do you feel about, let's get to some of the comments that were made. How do you feel about some of the mixed reactions that you were getting?
Huh?
I'm sorry, what were you saying?
I said salute to everybody in the chat. Hello, everybody. Now, what you say?
How do you feel about some of the backlash that you received over the interview that you did with Say Cheese?
A lot of backlash, a lot of the pages were made up from DC people because some of the statements, some of the comments that was being made were comments that was already said to me on my live or by the streets. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of those comments were made up pages from DC people, and the ones that weren't made up and that were making comments, I went on his page and I commented. I don't know people. I know people have a different perspective of life now. Nobody has respect for anything, and by them just seeing me, what I'm saying, and saying who I was, saying to you, for them to just see me saying who I was, and then lot of people felt that I got on there. I got on Say Cheese. I didn't say anything, or what was the point for the interview, and just a lot of negativity. And I find that a lot of people that are on these on y'all live stream and that are making comments, a lot of these people are homeless, they broke, they have no lives, they just, got a phone, and they sit and they make, very negative, disrespectful comments. And now I see that people, they gravitate to the negativity of anything, about anybody, any negative statement that somebody say about another person, they gravitate to that. So people of the world today are I'm just not going to entertain a world of ignorance.
Okay. So you don't want to dive into these comments then, huh? Because I see some
go ahead,
interesting stuff through here.
Go ahead, let's go.
Let's get to a couple of positive ones. One positive one is rather she's telling the truth or she's lying, she's loyal to Wayne, and that's priceless.
Right. I respect that.
Another one is y'all can say what y'all want about her, but she's 100% loyal. I watched the whole interview, and although she didn't want to provide no info on Wayne, she did have an interesting story towards the end. She's just solid about not snitching on nobody's situation.
I respect that.
So you interviewed the baby mama that's still in love with him. Interview the baby mama that hates his guts.
Hey, when I seen that comment, I fell out. I fell out. I really don't, and I'll answer that on here. I really don't think he has a baby mother that hates him or dislikes him, because he didn't disrespect any of his baby mothers. He didn't. So I'm going to say that to that question. I don't think none of his baby mothers, I know they wouldn't get on nothing and try to harm him or try to make his situation more worse. I know they wouldn't get on a live stream and try to downrate him about anything. And I can stamp that. He doesn't have any baby mothers, which is, hi sis, which is really a good blessing for him. He doesn't have any baby mothers that will want to trash him.
Okay. What about comments like this? Let her tell it. Wayne Perry is a Baptist pastor that donates all his money to charity.
When I seen that, I laughed. Well, I'm going to paint him in the best no matter what. No matter what.
You can tell how real Wayne Perry is by how she acts. It's clear he showed her how to move and think. She hold it down better than these clowns and get on these platforms telling it all.
Very true. Very true. Now, that's one comment I loved. Because whoever that person is just as solid as me. They read straight through everything.
Sean, you got finesse, bro. You should have interviewed Wayne's ex, Tawala.
I'm not going to entertain that comment because I'm going to say this. I'm not her and she's not me. So, what is that? Oh, these people are crazy.
Right on.
So, I'm not her and she's not me. So, whatever they thought that she was going to say, she probably was. I'm not going to say what she says, and I'm not going to behave in that type of way. So, and I think that comment came from somebody in DC. It had to. So that was just that comment. I'm gonna state like they was just trying to hype up something and boost up something, or to get at me to make me feel some type of way. And what they don't understand is I don't feel any type of way about her. She's not in my bracket. She does not exist to me. And I feel she should feel the same way.
Gully TV mentioned her. Pardon self.
Huh?
Go right ahead.
I and her have a very different relationship with Wayne. Whatever she did with Wayne, she did with Wayne. Whatever I did with Wayne, I did with Wayne. But I'm not the one who will speak on Wayne's street life, or basically what they say, snitch on him or dry snitch on him.
Do you believe that's what the call was for her to attention? Because like I said,
yes.
I'm not sure. I think Sean Cotton brought her name up. But
He
I know Gully, I watched
up.
the video from Gully TV, and we'll
talk
about that more
in a second. Gully brought her name up. Sean Cotton didn't bring her name up. What he said to me was, "Are you his ex?" And I said, "No, he doesn't have an ex. He does." He said ex-girl. He said ex-wife or something, ex-girlfriend or something. And I said, "No, he doesn't have it." Because where would the ex-wife be? Who would be the ex-wife? Wayne was never married. So Gully was the one running his mouth talking about her, and we know where he got that information from. What I'm not going to do, Oden, I'm not going to allow them to play her against me. She's not in my league. Oh, salute, soldier, from Mario's, Minnesota. What? Hello.
Salute. I appreciate you, champ.
So I'm not going to. I have grown up out of the ignorance of other people when we're talking about her and dealing with Wayne and certain women. Okay, so what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to allow them to play her against me, because they can't. I'm a totally different caliber of a woman than she is. So what they feel and think about her, I would never do. Because Gully brought up her past about some things, and I'm going to say this. Whatever women do, these men have no respect. You shouldn't have you don't have to put their street business or who they slept with or who they was involved with, because you make them look like whores and trash. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that's not what a man should be saying out their mouth about a woman. I've never come at her, she slept with this and stuff. If I said it, I didn't say it online, because I'm a better woman than that. I stand way above that mess. The cloth that she's cut from is gone. Astoria is principle, something many will never understand. Exactly. Thank you. I'm not that woman. So we have cowards who try to play me against her. I'm not entertaining that. She is really beneath me. Whatever her life is her life, and mine is way above her. I think bigger. So I'm not going to sit and try to go back and forth and trash her. She know what the issue is between I and her. She knows, and I know. But for the internet, that's sucker shit. And I'm better than that, because she's a woman just like I am. We had our situation and went on the internet because I came on your show. You don't get 2 times and 3 times around with me. You see what I'm saying? I've grown out of her and that bull. And to be honest, I really think she has. I don't think she's behind people saying her name and people posting her. I really don't think she's behind it. But if she is, then may Allah bless her and help her. But what I'm not going to do is keep belittling myself to those standards or those levels. You get what I'm saying? Look where I'm at. Look where I am. Look where I'm going. Do you think I got time to keep on going back and forth, listening to that and going back and forth with her? where is it gonna get me? I'm going places. And people are just trying to use her against me to antagonize me or make it seem like somebody come. And like I expressed on my Facebook page, if anybody really wanted to talk to them people, they'd have been talked to them. I know how certain people have went to Sean Cotton and tried to throw her in the mix. But I know he's smarter than that. He already read about her. And then they go and see when they go and they make their lies and make their assumptions, they throw people out the pocket with certain people. You understand? So they rig my name up and rig me up. And he's seen me online a couple of times because he said, you listen to what he said. He said, people like listening to you. Now, how would he know that? So she's no threat to me. I'm not going to jump all up and scream, oh, he posted her, they posted her, the comment came in here. I think I went on that comment and started laughing. It's nothing to me.
Jimmy Black, pardon himself. Jimmy Underdog says, do you have a picture of Puffy? I had to get that in. He sent me a cash app. He cashed out me. He said, last question, does she have a picture of Puffy?
No, I don't have one on hand, but I can get one.
Underdog, why you want a picture of Puffy, homie?
Yeah, what you wanna see Puffy for? What you wanna see Puffy for?
What you want a picture of Puffy for, homie? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's all good.
Hold on. What's really going on? You want a picture of Puffy? Wait a minute, brother. What's really going on here?
Right on. It was one or two more comments I wanted to get to in here, but we don't really have to get to that. Do you think a lot of people are saying that Say Cheese wasn't ready for you not to divulge a lot of information like that? You know what I'm saying? It's like he thought she was gonna come on here and talk about the amount of bodies that man had and all the stuff he did in the streets and this and that and the other. She did the exact opposite.
Let me say something. Oh, your platform is where I started. You understand what I'm saying? And when I got on his platform, it was a whole different set of, what I would say, set of mindsets. You understand what I'm saying? It was that was something totally different over there. Totally different. So with him, I don't really know what his mind was thinking. Now, I can't sit and say he thought I was going to come on there and say this and say that and say this and say that, because he doesn't know me. Now, what people may have told him, or how they may have, how they may have put me in front of him and gave him some type of character or their perception of me to him, he might have did think that. But I will say, I don't think he thought that I was going to answer those questions the way I did, because I'm a woman and they are known to be, women are known to be able to be manipulated in certain situations when you ask them certain questions. You feel me? Mm-hmm. So I think, and I might be wrong, but I think I kind of shocked him a little bit with my answers. Because if you watch what he was saying to me, he was asking me some of the same questions, but he was turning them around and I was catching on. Mm-hmm.
He said as much. He said, I know I'm asking you the same thing a few different ways. Yeah. I seen him say that.
Yeah. So I think that probably what really attracted him, and probably was like, you know, she's smart. She on her game. Because if you ask some people, if you ask them the same question, but you mix it up, you going to eventually catch them and they going to tell something that they didn't tell. or didn't say. You see what I'm saying? But I knew where he was going. But this is why I said I'm glad that he did not give me the questions and tell me what he was going to answer, because then I would have had my answers prepared. He thought you was going to put Wayne's business out there like the other one. See what I'm saying? That's why
Underdog said Puffy a legend and had ballers on deck. I guess that's the answer to why you want to picture.
That's why you want to see her. That's the answer why you want to see her. You know what? You are terrible.
He said, no Diddy, Puffy part of the 80s BC people talk about. Now that's a true fact, though. That
is a very true fact. Very true fact. So, you know, I'm kind of, you know, I don't think he's angry at me. I don't think he think that I finessed him. How could I finesse him when I didn't know what he was going to ask me? You only can finesse somebody when you know what's coming. So I didn't know what he was going to ask me, so I couldn't finesse him. It's just that I am who I am. Those were my reactions to his questions. Which was
Let me ask you this while we're on the subject of Tawala real quick. There was an FBI agent, Dan Riley, that also Gully TV brought up, and I'm about to get to it. I got a couple clips from him I want you to react to, since he reacted to your video.
Exactly. I got something for him.
Okay. But yeah. The FBI agent, Dan Riley, he brought up Tawala in interview, but he also brought up a different young lady that he felt to be kind of green or whatnot. Now, I feel like he's speaking about you in this particular interview. Did you hear that?
He is. And I tried to, you know, we can discuss it now. He is, but I've been getting away from it. What I mean by getting away from it, when a lot of people knew because Poe knew. So I'm going to say this. I can't remember, it's a video or script. I think you have it. When Poe says, hey, Shonda, when Poe says Wayne had a baby mother that lived by the river or the bridge. He says he had a baby mother that lived by the river or the bridge. He's speaking about me. My house
that might be Feds. That might be Feds magazine.
Okay, well, there's somewhere I seen it and I heard it more than one time. And he's speaking about me because my house was, Manny lived up the street from me, a block up. I lived on the corner of Pennsylvania Avenue and Minnesota Avenue in a house. And the bridge is right there. You could walk from the back of my house straight to the highway 295. That's the bridge. So
how old were you when you were picked up by the FBI agent? Not to interrupt.
I was 20. I had my son. I was 22.
Because I wanted to bring it back there because I want everybody to understand that what the FBI agent said in the clip was you wouldn't tell him anything. She wouldn't say anything. And this and that and the other, you know. And that goes to stand that you've been standing on this business for quite some time or whatnot. As far as the interview with Sean Cotton, why would you treat that any different than you did the FBI interview?
Any different. Same thing. So
let me see what I got. Let me ask you how you feel about
the interview was dead. Troy Reed did a documentary about Alpo where Wayne Perry was mentioned, and Twyla was on that joint. She's somebody who probably would be able to offer some information or an interview that will be interesting or engaging at this point.
Now, as I said before, is it your belief that he would say something like that because they want, for lack of better words, the drama? They want someone to come and tell stories about, you know, the Michael Jordan of the game. So is that why you believe he would make that type of statement?
It's exactly why he would make that type of statement. That's why I said I'm a different caliber of a woman from her. See, they know that she would, I don't know what she would do at this point, but when she did the documentary or whatever, she was speaking. Hello, Manru, my brother.
Salute.
And I guess they figure she would be she would basically tell them stuff that I want to incriminate Wayne. And I won't.
Did Wayne Pillow talk?
No.
So it stands to reason that if he didn't tell you anything in that regard, as far as his life, and as you said in the interview, you learned as you went along about the notoriety and respect that others have for him, he probably wouldn't have told her anything either, correct?
Correct.
So then all she would be doing is the same thing Sean Cotton was doing, in a sense, is telling stories that somebody else had told before, saying stuff that she'd heard or whatnot about the urban legend that is Wayne Perry.
Mm-hmm. Because this lady swallowed on a documentary and she didn't give up shit either. I don't go into the fact of, because I never cared and I don't care today. And like I said, she's not a factor to me, so I don't talk about her. But, what I, would say is a lot of stuff that I read that she wrote or whatever the case may be, a lot of it didn't make sense to me, and it was said that some of the stuff that she was saying, it was put together for her to say. So I don't know. I wasn't. They want entertainment, not understanding how serious this is exactly. And to put her, some people may not understand what I'm about to say, but I'm going to keep it 100 because that's who I am. And in a part of it, I told him a woman needs to know their place, so I stay in my lane. You remember that part?
I do.
Okay. So to keep putting her in the front of the gun, to keep throwing her out there, I think out the box. You see where I'm going with this? Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to ever let nobody do that to me. So I feel as though they feel she would talk more than I would talk. I don't know what she would say. I'm not trying to phrase her or think about what she was saying in her head because I really don't care. But what I'm saying is, in reference to all of that, he should have kept his mouth closed, because you never know what people are thinking today in this day and time. So to keep throwing somebody's name out there and saying this, that, and the other, from my end, from where I come from, that's not cool. That's not cool. And I've heard many things, but she's not nothing to me. So I'm not going to entertain it.
Let me see. Hold on. She said, "Hey, Auntie, you held it down. I was proud of you. F the haters."
Hey, baby girl. Hey, Niecy. Thank you. And I think Gully did that to aggravate me and to try to antagonize me, or with his accomplice try to discredit me. Like I said, I don't think she's entertaining this stuff. So I'm not going to try to go at her or bash her. I'm past that shit. I'm way past that. But her name is going to come up because she did the documentary. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, Underdog 211 He sent another one through. Salute to you for that one, man. I appreciate you. He said Tawala said in an interview that she seen them do that to people.
And that's why they want her on. Did she? I don't think so. Even though I wasn't there, I'm a stand toes with him. I don't think so. I really don't think so.
Where was she? Where did she say this in the Troy Reed interview? Is that where she's supposed to have said this at Underdog?
I think so.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have to check that out because I didn't know she spoke so
bluntly. Yes.
Yeah, bluntly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's why they keep.
The documentary was the Alpo story. That's what it's called. The Alpo story.
Right. She's no match to me, and I'm not entertaining. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going through that. He did that because his accomplice told him to do that. Documentary and says something she had. See, I don't want that comment right there will not be my name.
Yeah, so you can't repeat that. Don't repeat that. Let me say it. It says Tawala got on that documentary and said something she had no business saying. That's what the comment said.
There you go. That's why I'm not entertaining them with that. I don't want my name to be tagged to that. They can say all the negative comments they want, but that right there, I don't want my name to be tagged to that.
I am convinced they're trying to get that man more time gossiping about murders.
Exactly.
All right, let's get into another clip real quick. Let's get into the second clip I got from Dog.
Times he was trying to interview her as far back as last year, but they couldn't get it together. They couldn't get together or whatever. So here she is, right? Number one, you got to know that she's Wayne's baby mom. She's probably still in contact with him. I'm quite sure she's still in contact with him. You got to know before she got on that platform, with his permission, the agreement was don't go up there and tell them niggas nothing about me, because in his mind, even though he got probably 5 life sentences or some shit like that, in his mind, he gonna get out one day.
Did you need permission to go on the platform from WP?
He sound like the most ignorantest sucker coward I've ever seen in my life. Wayne is not going to, I don't have to go to Wayne. You think I'm going to go to Wayne and say, I'm going on this platform to get this money. Is it okay? Are you freaking serious? What type of man do these people really think Wayne is? That's like prostituting me, and he ain't gonna do that. So I'm gonna sit and I'm gonna wait till he call, and I'm gonna tell him, you know, this dude got this big old platform, and I'm gonna go on there, and he gonna say to me, he gonna prep me and say, you can go ahead on the platform, but just don't say nothing about me. What the fuck is going on? Let me tell this monkey something. This speck. He's a speck. You have never dealt with solid, honest, true, loyal women. He doesn't have to tell me anything to say about him. He doesn't have to prep me to say, don't say. And then he said he only got to tell her one time. Let me tell you something. I run my area. I run me. Do I listen to him? Of course. But does he have to prep me not to snitch on him? No, he does not. No, he does not. He knows wherever I go, whoever I talk to, whoever I speak to, whoever I'm around, I'm not going to ever sell my soul like you cowards for $1 and throw him under the bus for fame. Not at all. I am not a sellout by no means. So he doesn't have to tell me, don't go and say nothing about him. That makes no sense. That's why I know you punks don't know Wayne. You want to know him so bad. I think you want to be him. Y'all want to be him so bad. Y'all wish y'all could be him. To hold the power he hold over you niggas. He holds power over you. Because you're always jumping up saying something negative that you, Gully TV. And I'm going to say this. If Wayne walked in front of you, you would melt. Believe me. You would be so much as saying, I'm so sorry, Slim. I apologize. I ain't know. And Wayne would take one look at you. One look at you. And that would be it. So you jumping on, you don't know me. You don't know me. You mocked ass nigga. You's a mock nigga. You don't know me. Keep my name and Wayne's name out of your mouth. And I promise you, I'm going to show you that I mean business. What you got up there on that platform and said made no sense. And the people that follow you are just as ignorant as you are. And your accomplices who told you to say that going to leave you holding the bag. You fool. You are a fool. And how dare you sit on a platform and talk about anybody living out your mama's house? You's an overgrown man. You have nothing. You jump online talking about you got this going on. Get this magazine. Do this, do that. But you can't pay rent nowhere. And you don't even have a female that you can go lay up with. And you most definitely will never find one like me who is very loyal. Loyal to myself first and then loyal to my son's father. And don't ever come out your mouth and say his baby mother again. You don't know me. You rat. You's a small rat. You look like a rat.
How do you feel about the notion that people get life sentences and turn Muslim? That's one thing he had to say in regards to WP.
Oh,
somebody came into his chat at a certain point and brought up the fact that WP was a Muslim, and he got a little riled up in asking why they said that to him, because everybody that goes to prison doing a bunch of time takes their shahada and all is forgiven and thinks that they going to the pearly gates. And I believe you probably seen that little rant of his at that point.
I did.
How do you feel about that?
He has no idea what he's talking about. He has no idea of what he's talking about. Wayne was Muslim on the street. And he went to prison and he got into it deeper. He's a mud dog who want to slander and keep running his mouth to make content, to think that he know what's going on or whoever is giving him his information. Let's see how he survives in prison if he goes. He won't last a day. So he has no idea what he's talking about. And I heard him say something about, Wayne was a fake Muslim and all that. And I made him take it down. And I said, he got on that page and he started doing all that ranting about me because it was something else he put up maybe 2-3 years ago. And I had him to take that down. So that's why he felt the need to get up there like a woman, like the little ant rat that he is, and start talking all this bull crap about Wayne and Wayne. I don't know, who is giving them the authority to feel like they have free will with their mouth to be saying certain things that they're saying.
Let's get into another clip.
The news of her being pursued for an interview, she of course had to get his permission. And he probably told her, of course, don't go up there and get that nigga nothing. Go up there and get that money, whatever he's offering you, get it. And send it to me, or send me half. So it was a money play. But don't go up there and talk about me to that nigga.
They mad as shit.
Dog, some of the things he says entertains me. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to entertain that one right there if you don't want to. We can go past that.
What world do you live in? Nigga, what world do you live in? What world do you live in, nigga? What world do you live in? And I said that, so he gonna get on the phone from where he is and tell me, go ahead up there, get the money, but don't say nothing about where is this nigga's head? You clout chasing monkey. Where's your head at? Where is your head, doorbell dummy? You can't possibly think. Then he said Wayne was a serial killer, about 100 bodies or something like that. Then he said he didn't kill 100 bodies. He didn't kill he didn't have 100 bodies he killed. Well, if somebody had 100 bodies they killed, wouldn't they be a damn serial killer?
Yeah.
So with Gully, he's just talking off of somebody telling him what to say. And he just screwing it all up. Sitting up there looking like something from the trash can. Garbage can ass nigga.
Next clip.
He's a troll.
They will target a woman. So we not going to let her know about any killings that we was doing and shit like that. We not going to let her know about anything that we was doing for the most part. Like she said, she didn't understand his reputation until they was going out in public and shit like that, and people would just be giving him money and shit like that. But again, she said she was 17 and he was 25. That means she probably wasn't hanging in the same spots he was. She probably didn't have the same, wasn't in the same demographic as far as having mutual friends and shit like that. Nah, she had friends that was her age, and people that was his age was a whole nother age bracket, so they not conversing and shit like that.
How do you feel about that?
He don't know. He's ignorant. If I said I was 15 years old and I was hanging out in the street, why the hell would I not converse with the same crowd that Wayne is conversing with? How much sense did that make? If I said
I thought that was the most reasonable thing he said, though.
Yeah, but it's not true. So I'm hanging in the street. Listen to what you're saying. Listen to me. I'm 15 years old. I'm hanging in the streets. I'm hustling. I'm selling drugs. I'm hanging around big hustlers. Blase, blase. Do you think I'm going to go and hang with 17-year-olds that's my age? If that was the case, then what was I doing in Wayne's era? What was I doing? And I seen comments say that, well, you got to understand how y'all think a 17-year-old gonna basically how she's going to relate to a man who's 23, 25. You have possibly no idea. I might was 17 years old, but my mind was on his level.
Okay, now, you know, I gotta back you up a bit here, because see now, so when Sean Cotton asked you if you knew about Wayne's prestige beforehand, you told him you did not. You told him you learned as you went along.
I did not, and I didn't. But what I'm saying is,
that's why I said Gully's theory is reasonable. Then, if you saying you shaking and moving in the streets, of course you may have heard his name, correct? But did you know about his prestige and who he was?
I did not. No, I did not. I just told you I was hanging with the LGBTQ. And if he was messing with men, they would have told me.
Okay, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. Okay. All right, I'm gonna let that go.
We're gonna stay. No, we're gonna clear this up. We're gonna clear this up. So by me being 15 years old to my 17 years old, people were in the streets. People he knew and people I knew. So what I am saying is I didn't go to hang with girls that was 17 years old who probably was. I stayed in school. I went through school. I went to school every day. I graduated. But I would say bookworm girls, and like he tried to call me, what he tried to say I was a nerd or something like that. I didn't hang with those type of girls at 17 years old. At 17 years old, I was hanging with a much older age of people. Do you understand me now?
I very much do understand that. But I mean, you know, two things can be true. That's all I can say about that. Because on one end, I'm feeling like I don't know, and on the other end, I'm feeling like okay. So two things can be true. Like you said, you knew of him, but you weren't aware of him to the degree you were until you began to deal with him personally.
Exactly. Who the hell is going to know about somebody if you don't deal with them? You can hear all type of stuff. I wasn't into listening to what everybody said or who they was talking about.
Did you run in the same circles?
Basically, yeah. But the circle was bigger than just he got sick. The circle was bigger than DC. When you come to DC, DC is one circle itself. So it wasn't like I got my white friends over here that don't know him and he got his black friends over here. Everybody was around. Puffy, Mimi, and Tracy knew everybody. We didn't talk about him until I started messing with him, because what would be the point of talking about him if nobody in that crew is dealing with him? Did his name ever come up? No. And reason being, I wasn't focused on him. Now, do you understand? We're going to get this straight before we leave off this platform. DC is a circle in itself. You will hear somebody's name. You will hear about certain stuff. I didn't hear about him because I was uptown, 14th Street. So all the dudes on 14th and Fairmont to 14th and W and 14th and U, I knew all of them. DC is divided. Northwest, northeast, southeast, southwest. So I lived in the middle of that. Remember, he was locked up. He came home 88, 89. That's when I started dealing with him. So when I got to Southwest, where he is from, then that's when his name came up. And his name still didn't come up there because I went to Southwest School. I went to Jefferson Junior High School. Nobody said his name. Why would they bring his name up if he's not in my little circle, if you want to call it, or the circle that I'm in? They're not going to bring his name up because we're not dealing with him or dealing with those people that are dealing with him, but everybody is in a circle together. So when I went to Wilson High School is when I ran into him. Wilson High School is affiliated with Southwest. Southwest people go there. So when they actually seen me talking to him and seen me with him, that's when his name came up and all this, that, and the other. So let me put it to you this way. They say he was a killer, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what they say. Me being in the street at that time, I wasn't leaning towards killers. I was leaning towards drug dealers. Okay, let me put it that way. So when I got with him, I didn't know nothing about what he was doing and all of that until I actually got with him. So if I'm not dealing with killers and all into that stuff, and I'm only into dealing with drugs, I know who got the drugs, this, that, and that. how am I going to, how would we connect for a minute?
I could dig that.
Thank you. Now, my brothers and them, they knew of him, but they wasn't around him either. So you think they gonna sit and just come in the house and say, this dude Wayne Perry, this, that, and other? No. Because they were trying to keep me away from certain things, and I'm hiding certain things from them. So we didn't collide that way, but we collided. So when people started knowing that we were talking or he was messing around with me, everybody started coming together. And that's just the play. That's how it is.
Okay. Let's get to this. I got 2 more clips to get to. Let's get to this.
If he involves her in his lifestyle, somebody could do 2 things. She could be targeted by authorities for interrogation, or somebody could snatch her ass up and throw her in the trunk of a car and shit. So to spare her from all of that danger, just keep her very, very far removed from everything that I got going on. She got on the interview. I tried to watch it. After being there for it only took me 10 minutes. I'm like, what is she talking about? She kind of sounded like a square. She kind of sounded like a square, was totally removed from his lifestyle and shit. The way she was describing herself being a hustler, growing up and hustling and shit. She called herself a distributor, and the words she was using and shit. It was like she's trying too hard.
How do you feel about that?
First of all, he doesn't have an education. So the words I was using was words respectfully to me, because I was on a big platform and nobody's going to see me as ignorant or uneducated. That's number 1. Number 2, he's absolutely right about if people thought that I knew something, or I said that I knew something, that a nigga could come and snatch me up, throw me in the trunk and all that. He's absolutely right about that. So that's why I don't run my mouth.
So that's a reasonable theory there.
Exactly.
That he came up with at that point.
Exactly.
Okay.
And he should be thinking about that for the other one too. But if she want to run her mouth, that's on her. When you get on your platform and talk about these niggas she went with, and she was with this person, and she was in the street and this and this and that. Don't think too hard, Oden.
I ain't got nothing to say about that. That's all. I ain't got nothing to say about that. That's all I was saying. I got 1 more clip. Let's just do this last clip real quick.
He asked her, was there anything mentioned about him online that wasn't true? And she was like, oh, the part about him having sex with men. What do you think she's going to say? What do you think she's going to say? Of course she's going to say that ain't true. Of course she's going to say that ain't true. You wasn't going to get nothing from her in that regard, because that would make her look bad. Even though she said that she hung out with a lot of transvestites and shit like that. But asking her about murders as if she was a part of it, or as if she was, after I kill a motherfucker, I'm going to give her this gun I put up. If you thought that anything about her, and you could tell how square she was.
Let me pose this question. Why would they think that he would think that much of Tuala? They saying that he was more calculated. Basically, what he's saying about you is true, but the manner he's saying it in is aggressive, for lack of better words. It's maybe disrespectful in part, in places or whatnot, but in total, it's a reasonable theory. In whole, you get what I'm saying? But I don't understand why they think that if he wouldn't do that to somebody with you with him, why would he do that to somebody with her with him, or entrust her with that type of information where she could speak to it firsthand like that?
Because the comment that was made said that she got on there and said something she wasn't supposed to. So that ignite people to think that Wayne put her in situations with him so she could see this and know this. So I'm going to go that route with it. Because from my understanding, when she got on the documentary, I don't watch it. I don't watch it. And then, she did a magazine and I seen it. And for me, and I told her and I told everybody, she really snitched on him in the magazine, said something about some, so I don't even want to entertain it. And they tried to say that I was hating on the magazine. I would never hate on the magazine that's snitching on my son's father, because everything in the magazine was actually incriminating him more. So that's why he feels that way. Gully don't know her. He just had what he had, and he read what he read.
Now, this was not false information. Only way she can incriminate him is if she brings up substantial evidence or whatnot, or information that can help them in an investigation. Are you saying that that's what happened in that magazine?
Yes. You think I'm going to get in a magazine or I'm going to get on anywhere and say, I seen him do this, and yeah, he did that? How much sense does that make? And the theory is, if you seen all of that, why you still here?
There you go. I'm not familiar with what the FBI agent actually said about her. Now I'm itching to listen to what he had to say about her in a different manner, because I know he brought her up, but like I said, at this point, I'm unfamiliar with what he said outside of bringing her up in name and then speaking about you and how you wouldn't say anything to him.
To me, when they bring her name up and they do it like that, it's like saying they know she will tell something. She will snitch on Wayne. She will dry snitch on Wayne. So he's absolutely right. If you want to look at me as a square, thank you, because you're talking to the feds. So thank you for titling me as a square. I ain't got to worry about the feds looking at me. But when he throw her in the wrench like that, what do you think that's saying? Because if I or you say that Wayne put a body over here, or I saw so much blood over here, so where do you think we're going, Oden?
Are you mad that they labeled you as a square?
No. He shouldn't be talking about me, period. He don't know me.
Outside of that fact, though, are you upset with the fact that he said that?
No, because he's a rat and he's running his mouth. And I don't want him to run his mouth about me and say, oh, she could say this, she could say this, she did that. He's dry snitching on me. So let him call me a square. Thank him.
In hindsight, that's the point. The point of that is the point. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Remaining solid, I guess. Remaining solid is being a square nowadays.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? That's how that's looked at. They would have rather you got up there and said something, if not incriminating, exciting enough to incite someone.
Yes, mm-hmm. yes. They would have rather I got up there and had some new information to send me over to the feds or wherever I was going the next day than for me to do what I did. And I'm sorry, I will not be that person. I will not be that woman. My mouth is sealed. Like they seal your documents, you can get your charges sealed. My mouth is sealed. Now, I don't know what Mr. Sean Carter really thought, or, I have no idea. But as he said, he would want me to come back, so we will see. But I shouldn't be going back or speaking about Wayne, because I have nothing for him about Wayne. unless he got some new questions, and I'm sure I'm going to handle them. So you ask me again, am I first of all, Gully has no right to be talking about me. He don't know me. He has no right to be talking about Wayne in any type of manner. He has no right to be talking about nobody affiliated with Wayne. Period. Number two, I'm not mad because he called me a square. He called me a square and exited me out of everything. Thank you.
I need to rebut that.
Okay. Rebut it.
He does have the right to talk about you.
No, he don't.
You made yourself a public figure. You on a channel that has 1.5 million subscribers. Before, you were on my channel before. He wouldn't acknowledge you on my channel the way he's acknowledged you, even though it's in a derogatory manner. He dedicated a whole hour video to talking about you and your video. He wouldn't do that before you got to that platform. So what I'm telling you is, when you make yourself a public figure, you're open. It's up for debate. People have opinions.
It's up for
debate. Once you get out there and you speak and you say this about that or that about this, then people get to form their opinions and ask questions in their head and see if other people think the same way they do. I mean, it's the premise of what I do. So I had to rebut that. You know what I'm saying?
I don't like the fact that he spoke on me. I don't like the fact that he spoke on me. And you're welcome to the internet. Thank you. Oh, wait. Because let me tell you something. Welcome to the internet. You better not copy nothing off this channel and put it on your page. Nothing, sir. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. You cannot have nothing from this show here on your page. Now, I get it. I understand that. But I don't like him. Because he wants to run his mouth and peg Wayne in the most negativist way. No. You want to speak Wayne's name? Nigga, put some respect on his name. You don't know nothing about him. You listening to another flunky come with all this bull crap. You want to speak his name? Put some respect on his name. And don't go talking about I'm on, because it was a comment. You must say 1%. Rotten podcast. What's a rotten podcast?
100% rotten. You know, that's his podcast. Salute. He just
that's his podcast. I was like, wait a minute.
He's just saying 100. That's all. Salute. 100% rotten.
Now, okay. So, there was a comment. You must ain't see this comment when it said she acting like she riding with Wayne, but she on the nigga channel who is a rat lover. We know where that came from. So let me tell you right, we know where that came from. So let me tell you right now, I would not call Oden a rat lover. Just like you niggas are ratting on Wayne. So you're the rats. When I got on Oden's, when I was introduced to Oden, I allowed Oden to tell me how he felt about Wayne, and I told him he was wrong. So I've said this before on Oden's channel. So when he figured out that how he felt about Wayne and what he heard about Wayne was wrong, he changed his whole perspective to Wayne. And we are human. We have the right to think and feel about a person until we actually get the right information. So, and in Wayne's situation, you niggas dehumanize yourselves. And I'm going to say it again. You are the worst cowards that ever lived in Washington, D.C. and have gotten on the internet. You are the weakest link. You can never be as strong of a man and a caliber of character caliber of a man Wayne is. So when you speak of Wayne's name, put some motherfucking respect on his name. Because you will never, you want to try to shine off his name. First, you want to try to shine off his name. then you want to go and trash him because you mad because he don't fuck with y'all. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. I said it more than once. Now I'm not going to say it no more. I'm going to show you. So by me getting on certain platforms and saying nothing, you marked ass niggas going to do the same thing. You have nothing to say. Wayne Perry has no story to come out your mouth. If it didn't come out of my mouth, it's not going to come out your mouth. And anything that you think you're going to get on and keep slandering him, I'm coming. Let him go. It was a podcast. It was a comment that said she went on there and said, they need to stop it. What she mean stop? What I mean stop it. Stop the negative, disrespectful bullshit because you niggas don't even run in that era. You could never run in his era. You could never stand next to him with your mama's welfare cheese. You could never do it. So stop. What I mean by stop the bullshit. And I already know who is saying, and a dude really got with me and he told me, he said, I like the way you think because you're smart. I know that his name wouldn't be so far. When she did whatever she did, that was maybe like 25 years ago. And here we is today in 30, 35, 40, still operating off his name on the internet. This is fucking ridiculous. But certain people want to live off his name. I don't want to live off his name, baby. And he's mad. You're so mad. They mad as shit. They're mad. It didn't matter who did it, whether it was me, another baby mother, or a true girl that was messing with him that wasn't about to tell all his fucking business and get him extra time. I would have been cool with that. But since nobody want to get on the right track about it, then I'm going to take the stand. He ain't tell me to do nothing. He doesn't tell me go and get online and say this and say that. That's not who he is. At first, they had him hyped up like it was cool. It's cool for him to be online. You got 100 and some views. He was okay with that because he thought the shit was cool. He had no idea that these doughboy eating ass niggas, broke ass niggas want to eat off his name. He had no idea you put up 100 views, them niggas might got $100,000. I'm just exaggerating. Which didn't help him in no type of way or broke him no bread. Then you putting them on white people shit. He ain't with that. And not telling him. Doing it behind his back. Come on. What type of man do y'all think he really is? So that's what rubbed me the wrong way. If you niggas was handling business like men and getting on these podcasts and shutting the fuck up. Thank you, Lawson. And shutting the fuck up and not trying to snitch or dry snitch on him or nobody else, I wouldn't have had a problem with it. But you go and you act like you his man or you represent him and you sit and you stabbing him in his back with the most longest sword you can find. So you think I'm just going to sit here and let you screw him over? You can't be serious. So if you thought that I was playing, now you know I'm not. Wayne is more profitable for these internet clowns in prison. They can clout chase and talk about him if he's walking. They can't clout chase and talk about him if he's walking the street. 100. Thank you. So when a lot of people they seen me on your platform, Oden, and you know, like we doing now, we talking. You ain't asking me all the interrogation questions. We talking. So I think I shocked a lot of other men too, because I think they look at me and they was like, man, she just be talking. She ain't holding it down like that. She ain't like that nigga just called me a square. You hear me? You feel me? So when a lot of dudes see me on there, a lot of dudes that know me, they know I'm rock hard solid. They know I ain't breaking, ain't nothing moving. If I said it ain't gonna move. Ain't nothing being told from over this way. So, but I think a lot of other guys, when they really see me on Say Cheese and seeing how I was operating, I'm gonna say, and how I was holding it down, they were shocked. Because they look at her and say, you know, well, she said this and she said this, and this is what I said when I told you a lot, and Sean Cotton probably did too. A lot of women, they would not think that women would hold their water because you can manipulate him, and he was really in the trance of manipulating me with those questions a little. Do you agree? Mm-hmm. Yes. So I think I kind of shocked him a little bit too.
Well, you definitely handled your business, and you know, despite what everybody has to say, I thought the interview was very interesting, and I was also surprised that you didn't talk about Silk more.
I didn't think it was appropriate at that time to talk about him. I know because you said it. I know what you were
a little agitated when he brought Silk up.
Huh?
It looked like you were a little agitated when he brought Silk up.
I was, because you know how I am about Silk. We're gonna, and then it was I'm glad you brought that up. It was a comment that said, she on here, she a thief, and she left her son already didn't have a father, and then she went and left her son. What type of mother would you be? And I answered it. What type of mother would I be? I would never say I am I'm okay with leaving my son the way I did. I would never say that my street hustle, you know, was a good thing. But I did it. I was doing it before I had my son. The vibe was off. What vibe?
You talking about when he brought up Silk?
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, it was. And I would never, but I had been hustling, you know, and I'm not even going to say that because that's not an excuse, because when I got with Wayne, I had stopped hustling and I had Silk. So what I would say is, I didn't think as a mother to how I was putting my son in certain situations until I went to prison. It was not fair to my son for him to lose his mother after he did not, you're right, after he did not have his father. But nigga, if you think for one motherfucking minute that I wanted to hurt my son or not be a mother to my son, you're possibly wrong. My son had, I don't care how I did it, my son always had a roof over his head. Silk wore the best clothes. Silk was the polo man and the Jordan man. Silk fucking bedroom looked it like the fucking toy store. So don't ever misconstrue my street hustle with being a mother. I was always a mother. And one thing, I'm going to say this on here. One thing Wayne always respected about me, when he called anybody, they always told him, she got your son with you. I never left my fucking son with anybody. Silk was always with me, except for when I went to stores to write checks and stuff. No, I wasn't taking my son with me, but he was in the best of care. My brother Rico, Puffy had him. Cream Puff, Tyrone had him. And no, they wasn't turning him to some type of sexual queen or nothing like that. He was a little boy. My mother, my sister, my cousin, Silk has always been in the best of care. Unlike a lot of other little dudes that didn't have their mothers because their mothers were strung out on drugs or prostituting or doing whatever they were, doing whatever they was doing. I never once did that. So I was always a mother. But do I regret leaving my son the way I did? You motherfucking right. Would I do it again? No. Even though he's grown, I would not do it again. And when I came home, I had to turn around and explain and express to my son that I apologize to him, which a lot of women don't do. So don't play with me like that. I got his ass on that comment, but don't ever look at me like that and don't ever play with me like that. Ever. And as you see today, Silk is fine. Yeah, he ain't screwed up. He ain't mentally fucked up. He ain't broke. He ain't hungry. He ain't struggling. And he don't want for shit. Because he still got his mother. Then the nigga was on it talking about the way she pronounced her words, mother, pern, and all that. These people ignorant as shit.
I mean, you know, a lot of people, like you said earlier, they just want something to say anyway.
Yes, just to have something to say. Somebody said, and I knew that came from DC. Oh, look at her hair. This is my fucking hair. I froze a minute. Oh, I froze. This is my hair. Fuck. Tell your girl.
On the last note, because we've been here for about an hour and a half, pardon yourself.
We got to go. We got to go.
Lastly, I just want to say to you the same thing. That ain't this and this ain't that said. Welcome to the internet. You know, like you went on a big platform. Congratulations, by the way.
My face. I went where?
You went on a very big platform going on Say Cheese. And just as I said to you earlier, once you make yourself a public figure, you become one. And, you know, even though you may not fully accept the fact that people are going to have an opinion and people do have the right to express it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to turn the comments off and let stuff be water off your back. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like you said, you don't feel like he should be talking about you or has the right to talk about you. On the flip side of that, what I say when I see people talking stuff about me is, man, he don't even know me. And that's enough for me. Because you can assume all you like to. You know what I'm saying? But, dog, you don't know me. Nor do you know anybody that run in my circle, or you wouldn't gather those opinions or those thoughts of me. You know what I'm saying?
I just feel like, just like you said, how long I've been on your platform, you spoke about, salute to you. How long I've been on your platform and you spoke about Gully before. I just feel he didn't do it just because his intentions was to try to, you know, manipulate the situation about the Say Cheese interview. He did it because he has an accomplice that boosted him up to do it. If I felt like he just went on there, that's his platform, that's what he do, like some of the other little people, dudes that pull my stuff off of Say Cheese, then I think I would be more settled with it. But because I know for sure that he only did it because another person told him to do it, fuck him.
Well, what's understood ain't got to be explained.
Exactly. He better take my name off his platform. His little bitch ass best to do what he best to do. Nah, because if I thought it was just like I said, then it would be cool. But I know it's not. So no, I'm not doing that with him. Now he can square that one. Take that one and square it.
I feel you though. But all right, folks, we're going to get out of here. Thank you for coming out. I appreciate your time. And I'll talk to you on the flip side.
Okay.
All right, now.
Do you have an outlet to release this anger if you can't get
tell you I ain't never been a bitch, nigga. I'm pop niggas, bitch, I'm really with the shits, nigga. I hit niggas double barrel to his abs when that Mossberg hit him. Watch a nigga do a dab. These pussy niggas wanna see me dead. Since bottle 09, I done had a ticket on my head. I kill shooters till that nigga get his bread back. ATM the gang, I send that nigga head back. Whoever said that love begets love was wrong. I'm from a city where blood begets blood. It's slugs hit niggas mug. That ain't bugs and cups. That's choppers for that loose talk. I'm coming plug you up. Pussy, push me, I bet he never see another day. Top at your face, bet you never see another case. When I get to shooting, this motherfucker get out the way. 0 to